So let's take a step back, as David Robb said, and let's talk more Bernard Chung from SAP. I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network, about the gap analysis tool, whose goal, as David said and reminded us, is to help marketers identify the right technology focused by their business objectives, right?
That's right.
Okay, so the gap analysis tool, where is it? How do I get it? Is it available? Give us some information.
Sure, it's currently building now, but I want to give you an early peek on it. But the tool is an interactive tool that allows marketers to enter in information and get back some high-level directional view on the key focus area of technology that they need to be focused on. So the tool works like this. It's a four-step process, and marketers first fill out their company profile information, the annual revenue, the industry you're in, how willingness to change your technology and your process and systems, and what regions you're located in. Then the next step is to identify the different programs that you may be doing now or you want to evaluate, like prospect profiling or batch promotion, which are monthly or weekly newsletters or emails or catalogs or interactive programs, or there's a few more down you can't see in the screen. But you can specify you're doing them now, or if you want to evaluate them and consider doing or identify that you don't need them. And as you select the items, you'll be able to see what others have, what percentage of people said that they also are doing or want to do as well.
So before you go into the next two steps, to David's point and your point, this really is a step back. It allows you to assess kind of where you're at.
Absolutely. You're taking inventory of all the different initiatives and programs that you currently have, and also want to consider and evaluate as well.
Okay.
So the first step was to specify all the different programs.
Yep.
And the second is to look at all the different systems that you have in terms of marketing technology. If you could throw back up the screen there, you can see the different the email system or the web system or the call center system, and the different and what you're doing across the top is you're specifying how integrated they are across the different systems and processes. So you could specify here if you scroll down, all the different systems on the left, and the degree in which it's integrated, whether it's a silo system, it has the ability to export, import, or do these in real time. And after you specify this, the next step is to identify, what is the, your current processes and how well these processes are integrated to each other in different systems, the single customer view, and whether you are able to enhance the customer data, predictive analytics, and so on and so forth. And at the end, you get personalized recommendation in terms of the key areas that you need to focus on depending on the inputs that you provided. So you get recommendations by industry, the applications you need to focus on, the processes that you need to think about, and different priorities that you need to have versus the gaps that you have and the applications you need to get. And also get recommendations on how to improve your systems and processes, and also get final recommendation in terms of the overall systems and processes that you need to focus on.
So again, this gap analysis tool you've worked on with David Robb and you're working on with others, it's marketingtechgap.com. That's the website that'll be out in June?
Yeah, in early June it'll be available, and it'll be available under the domain name marketingtechgap.com. And we'll also have it linked on various different websites, partner sites like CMO Council, with the help of Liz and a few other partners as well.
Yeah, you're excited about this. It seems like a really valuable piece.
I think it looks, it's a great tool. It looks good. I think it's also fun. And at the same time, marketers can get real value out of it and really get directional focus area in terms of marketing technologies and where they need to focus on.
You are watching The Customer Edge. I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network. Bernard Chung of SAP is alongside. Again, the website for the gap analysis tool is marketingtechgap.com. All right, as we talk about the subject of this episode of the Customer Edge, marketing technology, what you need to win. It's time now to focus on two of the people, or I would rephrase and say the two people that are most tasked or primarily tasked with getting the most out of marketing technology within your organization or your client's organization. That would be the CIO and the CMO. Their relationship is one that has been unique for years, but it's ever changing and it's evolving. So what would an ideal relationship look like today with today's digitally empowered customers between the CIO and CMO? What are some of the mistakes people have made? To find out the answers to these questions, we recently asked 3 experts in the industry to talk about the CIO-CMO relationship.
When you're looking at the CIO-CMO relationship, to be successful, some of the things haven't really changed in terms of IT collaborating with the line of business leaders. So, from that perspective, you still need to have that stakeholder ownership in the line of business, and you still have to have the IT executives enabling what it is that the business owners need. And in a productive, healthy relationship, you end up finding that the IT leadership is there to promote the business outcomes of whatever the line of business leader is.
CIO and CMO relationship, I think now is portrayed almost like a pantomime out there, with the CMO demanding capabilities and technologies and completely missing out the CIO, and the CIO being sort of caricatured as somebody who just keeps the lights on in the business. I don't think, I mean, there may be examples of that, but I don't think that that's how it should be. And I think in the more forward-thinking organizations, both the CIO and the CMO are kind of like the Merlin to the King Arthur, which is the CEO.
I think what has changed is that the entire landscape of how we get to those outcomes and what we need to do to push the value of the company through all these new channels, I think that's very new, and there's a bit of an education gap around what's available and what can be used, and how quickly can an organization jump into that and be effective.
The CIO has generally tended to come at it from a point of own and control. I put all of the software, the hardware on my premise, I control it. And the CMO generally comes from a non-technical background. What we at TBR are talking about is the rise of what we call the outcome-based buyer. And the outcome-based buyer does not care how a certain problem gets solved. So there's friction right now. And I think that that friction is probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. I believe it will get better as the CMO begins to get a better perspective into what the CIO is going through, and the CIO begins to realize that I know I run IT, but the technology is, my role as running technology does not necessarily mean I have to own everything and have it all on premise.
In an organization where there's a lot of frustration, and particularly among, with the CMO, then the CMO is going to try to take the lead in identifying appropriate technology to support whatever the strategy happens to be. I think in the more advanced organizations, the CIO is playing an incredibly important role in understanding the art of the possible, and to create the architecture that allows for adoption of emerging technologies that can support whatever the customer experience strategy happens to be.
There's a lot of positioning going on. A lot of CIOs or CT, technology officers, see, wow, there's a really great opportunity for me to get out of this CIO slot. I'm going to go over and become the new digital guy for gal for the company, right? So then there's a little bit of positioning going on, which, and it kind of varies depending on the size and the industry of the company.
It's moving away from the old industrial age command and control hierarchical organization to one that is far more responsive to customers. Maybe a few years ago, that was almost a fantasy, but today, there's no shortage of technologies.
So I think what the CMO and the CIO can do to optimize their relationship is, the truth is always in the middle. I think in an optimal relationship, when they both begin to come closer together, you can see some real strides forward. You can see some real advances, because technology no longer becomes the thing that holds people back, as they meet in the middle, you'll be able to see them really deploy solutions that really drive efficiency and better decision making and thus improve performance within the organization. The problem is that both people have to take a step closer to the middle, and they have to get their heels undug from where they've been in the past and realize that, you know, I've been part of the problem because I just assumed that you never go to IT because I've been part of the problem. I just assumed that these other things were there. And once organizations take that step forward, and once the individuals take that step forward, I see some really powerful things happening.